Now we're going to be adding to the timeline, so we're going to be getting all of the other pickup weapons to also attract the player. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to put them under the pickups folder. Okay, so let's find baseball bats to begin with, assets and prefabs, and I believe that the baseball bat that we want is this one. It's baseball bat 12. Alright, so let's just drag this one in. Let's put it to about here, actually. Now we want to move that, so Control and C to copy, all the way down to the bottom on the pickups, Control and V to paste, and let's just make sure that it does fit into there. Just going to get rid of this one. And I'm going to right click on it and choose unpack prefab completely. Okay, so it has no connections to the other one that we're using. Now it does have an LOD, okay, 0, 1 and 2. So what we want to do for this is ensure that we're always at LOD 0, 100%. So to do that, we're just going to drag these sections all the way to the bottom. Bear in mind that I am changing this PCBat 12, I'm not changing the original prefab, so that now with the camera you can see all the way, no matter how close I get, even all the way out to here and way out there, it's still going to be rendering. Okay, LOD 0. So that means that when we're animating we only change LOD 0. Okay, so yep, that's good. Alright, so that's done that. So on the timeline now, if I click back on pickup animations, I can now add a new animation track, drag in the baseball bat, create an animator on it, and we're ready to go. Now before I go anywhere, I just want to click record back on the knife pickup, click back on the knife pickup and click on the HDR, and this is the value that I use for the knife. So what I want to do is where it says add new preset, I want to click that one, and that's my new preset. Okay, so I can always go back and just click that and assign it to all of the other pickups, and they will all have the same value. Okay, great, so I can press record on that one, press record on this one, on the baseball bat, and obviously we're right at the point there, 1 minute and 30, sorry, 1 second and 30 rather, where it should be at its fullest color. So what I'm going to do is click on LOD 0, ensure that emission is checked, and I'm just going to click this, okay, and it becomes the exact same value. I'm going to go back to 0. Click HDR, and we're going to go all the way down to black, and do the same at 3 as well, all the way down to black. Alright, so now that should work, so I'm going to right click, choose convert to clip track, and ensure that this one is set to loop for infinity. So now when I press play, both of them start to glow. Okay, great. So now back to the project. The next one that we can put in is the horror axe. Now I've got a feeling that I've actually just changed. I think I forgot to do the materials on this one. Which I did. I think we may be okay with that. Okay, so I've just checked the baseball bat. Even though we're using the default material, it doesn't actually affect anything, because at frame 0 we're actually just, it's the HDR image, the lighting is not initiated, so it's perfectly fine to use the default materials. Okay, so let's just resize this bat a little bit, because it is a little bit small at the moment. Alright, I'm just going to resize it like that, and then obviously just rotate it so that it's sat on the floor, roughly about like that. Just make sure that it's not clipping through the floor. Okay, so on to the next one then, the horror axe, and it's this first one. Now obviously we bring this one in and it's huge. Okay, so rescale it 0.02 on X, Y and Z. There we go, that's a bit better. Still looking pretty big actually compared to that baseball bat. I'm wondering if the baseball bat needs to be adjusted a little bit. But anyway, let's just rotate it around so it's kind of like that. And let's just make sure Control and C, we're going to copy it, put it into pickups, so keep them all nice and organized. And let's unpack that. So unpack prefab completely so it turns into an instance. Let's delete this one. Okay, now back to timeline and pick up animations, create a new animation, and obviously just drag the axe into there. Yep, we'll create an animator and we will start recording. Let's just make sure that we are on 1:30. Now, if you get this kind of error, it comes up with this object reference not set to an instance of an object. I'm not entirely sure why it's doing this, but I find that if you close down Unity and restart it, that will basically fix your problem. So I've put the gun into the scene now, and obviously created a new animation and attached it. So now if I press record on this one, I'm at 1:30. Okay, and there's the handgun, so I need to drill down into its constituent parts. Okay, and we have the handgun model. Alright, so now I'm going to click on the HDR, just make sure that emission is checked, and I'm going to click this. Okay, now what we notice is that only part of the gun has actually been changed. That's basically just this part, because if we press the triangle we now have numerous other parts. So what we're going to do here is we're going to right click where it says handgun and we're going to add some override tracks. Okay, so we're going to press record off that one, press record on this one, and then you need to find the different parts that have this material on it. So you have to do it pretty much the same for all of them, unfortunately. Okay, then we've done that one, so now we need to right click right click on the top and add another override track, and this time we're going to find the hammer. This is why it's useful to have your swatches. Alright, just makes it so much easier to select them. Let's add another override track. I need to scroll down for this one, and this one is going to be the slider, and that looks like the entire gun now, because obviously the other parts don't have any materials attached to them. Oh wait a second, the trigger does. Okay, so let's add another override track. Let's press record on the trigger. We're just going to set this one to this material. Great. Okay, so that's now the entire thing. So what we're going to do now is come right back to point 0, and we need to go through them all. So we need to go handgun and set this back to black. Okay, and then obviously the second one, I think this one is casing exit. So you go in almost in the order in which they appear in the hierarchy. Back down to perfect black. Once again for this one, for override 1, so this one's going to be a hammer. And then we have the slider, which is going to be this one. There we go, and then finally we have the trigger, which is this one. So a little bit more complicated for the gun. Great, so now you got to repeat that there. Okay, so you got to do that all over again for that one. All right, great. So in the next video, we're going to be working on the box colliders that are necessary in order to pick up these objects.